Started here. So last week we looked at the permissions here, and so these are three groups of permission in here. So what are these? The permissions is for the permissions is for there are three sets in here. First three set belongs to the user, second belongs to the group, and third one belongs to the other. Okay, so these are three different kinds of user in the Linux system. And we also looked at their values. Read is 4, write is 2, and execute is 1. Okay, and then in this scenario here, we have read, write, execute. So this is, for this user, it's number 7. And then this one is read only, so it's number 4. And other is read only, so it's number 4. Users is represented with U, group is represented with G, and other users are represented with O. Okay, and most Linux system, the default permissions is 644 for the file. Okay, and chmod is the command you use to change the permissions. Either you could use it with the number, or you could use it with using a letter. If you do plus, it will add. If you do minus, it will remove it. Okay. All right. So we were looking at some examples here. So these are some of the examples. You do chmod u plus rwx, then the file name, it will change the permissions here. Okay, and then chmod 770 file name, or if you do chmod g plus read, write, execute, it will change the file permission accordingly. Okay, and this is another example here. If you want to give the permission chmod and then change around the permissions, these are the examples. Okay, and then the default folder permissions, it starts with 7. Okay, the folder permissions start with 7 because the folder needs a execute permission, because opening or any user that goes into the, okay, here default format. So Linux allowed any user to in the system to browse any folder. Okay, if they are going into the folder, that means a user should have an execute permission. Okay, so simply going doing the act d and then the folder name, it requires a execute permissions. Okay, and let's see here. This is an example. And last week we were kind of stuck on we're kind of stuck on umask here. So the default umask is 022. Okay, that's the system-wide umask here. And then the umask is set in, it is set in this file here, etc bash rc. Okay, so let's go in there, vi etc bash rc. So this is a script here. This is a bash script. We will go into scripting a little later. And this is where the umask is set to 022. So let me create a file. Okay, let me create a file named touch file 1, and I do ls-l. What will happen is it's using the umask. So the umask is set to 022, and it's masking the permissions 0. It's masking the permission 22. Okay. So what is number 2 for us? Number 2 for us is right. Okay, it's masking the permission 2, but it is also masking the permission execute. Okay, so we were struggling with this. I was struggling with this last week. Why it's not giving us a here? So the reason it will never execute because of the security. Okay, because of the security, it will never give the execute permission.
But Zafar, by what if we create the folder?
It will.
It will. Okay.
So let's see. Let's set umask 000. If you are setting umask 000, what will happen is it will create a file and the folder. That means we are giving every permission to everybody. Okay, so let's see here, touch file 2, and I hit enter, then I do ls-l. So what is it doing is by default security, it's taking away the execute permission. Okay, okay, so what is the reason behind execute? Execute is usually a script. A script means when you have a file, you could put some script in there and it will run all the commands you put it in the script automatically. Once you execute it, it will not stop. So imagine if you're running a script and it may have somebody put in some information on the computer. What will happen is it will shut down the computer. So the execute command is very important. Whenever you're going to give the execute command, you have to make sure you are doing the right thing. Okay, so we set the umask 000. Okay, and then we created a file too. Okay, and okay, and then we run the command umask, and then we file 2 and we did ls-l, but still it will never give the full permission here. Okay, we have a lot of people missing today, huh? Okay, system will not execute permission. Okay, so let's create a folder, mkdir folder 1, and we do ls-l. So what will happen is, for folder, it is giving all kind of permissions. But that doesn't mean if you create files inside the folder, it will give the permission to the files. For folders, the permission will be granted as per the umask. Okay. Any questions so far? So we got chmod. We do chmod to change the configuration in this. So to be honest with you, you don't have to worry about umask as much, because normally this is what it said to. I checked on my work yesterday and it's set to 022. Once the file is created, if you want to give bunch of files the permissions, you could just use it as chmod command. Okay, that beep is happening again, so I'm not sure what the problem is. Oh, we did the permissions. Give me 1 second here. Okay, all right, so any questions so far? I'm gonna save this. Did we talk about the customizing the drives or the folders? Administration, super user, add. So we have seen the user Amir, he could be a member of more than one. So a user can be a member of more than one group. In reality, you will see like a user would be a member of 4 or 5 or 6 groups. So that's going to be normal when you do a ID and then you will see the user and all this. So we have a developer. Okay. So next thing we're going to learn is the folder assignment. We will create one folder and then we will assign to the group here. So I'm going to create a direct mkdir. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to create a directory mkdir/data. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the group permissions to let's see what we have here. Okay, I'm going to change the group permission to accounting. Okay, so how do you do that? The command is chgrp. Okay, and then you give it to accounting, and then I'm going to give it to data. Okay, and then what I'm going to do ch mod, and then I'm going to give a group, a person who belongs to group, a write permissions. Okay, and then the folder name data. Okay, so oh, you know what? Let me change it to I'm going to change it to a default UMask, okay? So let me remove. Can you go on mute if you're not talking? Okay, I put you all on mute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder again. So, oh, not this one. So I created a use directory data. So let's see what are the permissions. ls-ld/data. So the permissions is for read, write, and there is no write here. And then execute. Anybody would have an execute permission, doesn't matter. But if you don't have a write permission, you're not able to create a file in there if you're not a root. So let's see, cat etc password. So let's see, we have a username Zafar2. Okay, so I'm going to switch to Zafar2. And then I'm going to try to go ls-l slash ld slash data. So I'm going to go to data folder. So as a user, anybody should be able to go into the folder and do ls here. But I should not be able to write in here. So touch file 1 and I hit enter. It will tell you that you cannot touch file 1 because you do not have permission for it. Okay. So before I forget, let me copy this. mkdir. So make a directory, and then I'm going to change the group to accounting. Okay. And then now ls-ld. So I changed the group to accounting and data. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is a user who does not access to data will not be able to write to it. And you could definitely go ahead and use the chmod command. Okay, you could remove the permissions, other permissions too. You could remove or read and execute permissions also. and su Zafar so the permission is denied. Okay, let me exit out of here, and let's give the data folder the permissions for the cat etc group. Okay, so I'm gonna give the folder the accounting permissions here. Okay, so what is the accounting permission? chgrp accounting. Okay, and then the name of the folder. Okay, let's see here. Now log in as user Zafar1 and try to create the files. So we already know I logged in as Zafar2, the permission is denied. So I'm going to log in as Zafar1. And since Zafar1 is part of accounting group. So let's see. So I type Zafar1, and Zafar1 is a part of a accounting group. Okay, right here, 4000 is the accounting group. So let's see here if he is able to create the files here. Touch file 1. Okay. Uh-oh. Let me do this here. User mod hyphen ag 4000. Okay, let me exit. Zafar1 is part of accounting group. Accounting 4000 Zafar.
But Zafar, I think the directory you create it still belongs to root. If you look at the permissions, I mean the group and the owner, it's still root.
Yeah, the group is accounting.
Okay.
Uh, let's see here. Let me do group add hyphen G uh, accounting. ACCOU. Okay, so the group is there. Why is it not working?
So Zafar, by user have a full permission to create the directory, but as a group, they don't have the right permission. If you do the ls for the data directory, I think,
Yeah,
right? I mean, supposed to have right in the middle.
exactly. Very, very good. Who is that?
Amir,
Very good. So this is where it comes here. User mod. And then what is the permission we should give? Can somebody tell me the number the permission will require here? So
2.
what we could do is G, in this situation, G plus, all you do is write and then slash data. Okay, so very good point. Then now the group has a write permission also. Okay, now switch as Zafar 1. And then what you have to do is go into the folder data and then let's create a file name touch file 1. Okay, the so the user is able to create a file in here. So let's switch to Zafar 2. Okay, and then Zafar 2 is not able to create cd data touch file 2, and he doesn't have permissions here. So the moment I add Zafar to the group, he will have permission. So how do you do that? User mod, okay, and you give the permission here. Let's see. What was the command I used?
I think it was a user mod hyphen a, and then capital
G, right?
G. Yeah.
Okay, so the user mod hyphen a g, and then what is the group name we want to give it? Accounting. Accounting, and then Zafar 1. Was it Zafar 1, right? Or Zafar 2? Zafar 2. So ID Zafar 2, and you see he belongs to the group accounting. So SU Zafar 2, and then CD data. Okay, so we see the file 1 belongs to Zafar 1. Okay, even though Zafar 1 is he's not part of the he's part of the group We added him by, why is he not showing up here? Okay, so whatever. By for now, the file was created by user Zafar1. So let's do touch file 2. Okay, now you could see even the user 2 is able to create a file. Okay, why? Because he belongs to the group. He belongs to the group accounting, and the folder belongs to the group accounting. Okay, so this is how it works here. Initially, it is a little intimidating, but if you practice it, you will get it. But don't worry about it too much. You know, you will have, you don't have to go through all this here. So this is a very good link here. I'm going to put it in here. Okay, so all right. So we changed the group to accounting, login as user, and then try to write it. So we are able to write, since user is a part of a group. Okay. Okay. So the next topic I have for you guys is a creating or setting a folder. No, I'm sorry, not the folder. We're going to set the set group ID, set GID. Okay, so let's see what set GID is. Set GID. Let's find out the definition. Uh, Okay, I think I have a better definition here. Give me 1 second. So I have this definition here. So what is set GID? So all when we have the set GID set to a folder, all the files that are created in the directory with set GID belongs to the group to which the directory belongs, not to the group to which the creating process belongs. Okay, so what is happening here? So when we do ls-l, so the main user group is the GID for the group user name Zafar1 is Zafar1 here. So in actually, the owner of this file is this group here, okay? Not this group. At this moment right now, what we want is we want the owner of the data to be the group accounting. So in future, when this Zafar1 creates a file in there, the group will automatically belong to this user here, okay? So let's see how we could do that. Okay, so let's do ls-ld/data. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna give 2 minute pause here. Anybody has any questions? Okay. So what will happen is the command is chmod, okay, g plus s, okay, and then the data. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a file using a user Zafar. Okay. Okay, touch file 3. Okay, now do you see the difference here now? When we created previously, the group primary group the Zafar one belongs to was the owner of that file. Now that we change the set it to set GID for the data, the owner's permissions or the group owner will be a folder, whatever that group the folder has on it, okay? So all files that are created in the directory with set GID belongs to the group to which the directory belongs. Okay, and not to the group which the creating process belongs. Okay, let's play around a little bit here. Right, the folder group owner is accounting here. So let's try to change it to developer. Okay, so how are we gonna do that? Let's see first cat etc cat etc. You know what, before that let me history. Okay, so okay, I think I forgot to show you one thing here. ls-ld/data. Do you see any changes in here in permissions? Okay, look closely. Read write, there is no execute set here. So read write here. Okay, what does this mean is when you look at this as S as in Sam, you could tell that the owner of the file is going to be the group which is going to be accounting here. That's what the set GID is set for. It will represent with a little s. Okay, so now what I'm going to change the group cat etcgroup. So we have a group name developer here, right? So what is the command to change the group? chgrp. Okay, and then we're gonna give it a, let's try giving it a group number. Okay, group number 3000, and then we are changing it to data. So looks like it worked. Either the name or the group name works, I think. Okay, now you see the group is a developer here. Okay, all right. So let's see ID Zafar 1. Okay, I think ID AAMIR. Zafar has permissions to for the developer group here. Let's go ahead and take a look here, okay? We just see Zafar 1 CD data. So let's do ls-l. So let's see if Zafar 1 is able to create the file here, okay? Touch file 4. Okay, so he is not able to change create a file here because he's not part of that group anymore. He's a part of accounting group, but he's not part of a developer group. Okay, so I think ID Amir is a part of a developer group here. Okay, so let's switch to Amir. So the user Amir is logged in here and he's in a data folder. So let's see touch file 4. So the user Amir is able to create a file in there because he is a member of that group developer. Zafar 1 can't create it anymore because he's not a part of a developer group anymore. So this is how the permissions work here. It's interchangeable, okay? So what could happen here is you could set the permissions on the folder level, or you could also set the permissions on the user level. In reality, most of the time, can somebody guess how is the permission set in real world?
I think by group.
Very good. By group and on the folder level. You got it. Because there are less groups compared to users, right? There could be a few hundred groups, but the users could be thousands. So what will happen is they will just set the permissions on the group level. That way anybody who belongs to that group is able to create the file here. So what I'm going to do is, for the demonstration purpose, I'm going to add Zafar 1 to developer group. Okay, so what is the command? User mod.
Zafar bhai, before you add Zafar one in developer, can you do one thing? Can you try to use with the sudo command? Since Zafar one is a part of lead group, just wanted to see if the sudo works with it.
It will.
No, I just want to try. I just saw that.
Um,
No,
sudo
no, switch the user first as a Zafar one.
5. Okay, you're not part of the group here. So let's exit here. Okay, so sudo touch file 5. So what will happen? The permissions will be?
And I mean, the permission is still the same, right?
But who will be the owner of the file?
The owner will be the Zafar one.
Are you sure?
I believe so.
What do you see now?
Developer. But
Who is the owner?
yeah, I see that as a developer, but
No, 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 no. Look at who is the creator of the file.
Root, root.
Exactly.
yeah.
When you This is a good thing this came up here. Next thing we're going to do is go focus on this. So what happens is sudo, I think I talked about this. When you run a sudo command, you are running the root command.
But technically, you're running the root command, but technically, user is running the root command, right?
No, 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 no.
Now, user is assuming root role, so it's underneath. He has already been permitted that upon need he can use or he can pretend as a root, so that the root is the user at the time.
So the sudo user, good thing it came up here. Let's see. No. Okay. So basically what it is happening here is a sudo user does not have full access. Okay, a sudo user will have a partial root access. Okay, let's see if definition fits here. Sudo is a program for Unix like computer operating system that allows user to run programs with the security privileges of another user. Let's do it root user. By default, the super user. It originally stood for super user do as. So sudo stands for as super user do. Who is the super user here? Root is the super user. What is the full form for super user? Super user do. So do as what a super user would do. That means it's assuming the super user privileges. That means who is the super user? Who is the super user? Super user is super user is a root. Okay. Okay. Did you get it, Amir? So you could also do here, right? Can you do cat etc shadow? What is the shadow file? Shadow file keeps the passwords. So permission denied. Let's do sudo and let's do cat etc shadow1. Okay, so it is actually allowing to read the file here. Okay, so that means the user has some level of root access. Sudo user. Most of the time, if you're admin, you have root access. Who are the sudo users? For example, the sudo users could be your manager. Manager won't have root access, he would have a sudo access. I'm pretty sure there are a bunch of other files as a sudo user is not able to access or run the commands.
Many database developers or application developers also request sudo access,
Yeah,
and they are added, yes.
because they need to run some executable files, so that's why they need that
Yep.
access. Okay, so let's see here. Masar, I sent you the resume. Did you get it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
There are a couple more things here, so we should connect offline, and I will talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just make sure I have enough information here. Root directory, this means the permissions are. Okay, so now next topic is SUID. That means set UID. Okay. So let's grab the definition here. Okay, so what is set UID? The definition is set UID, it inherits the owner root permission when executing a file. Okay, what does it mean here? I'll show you. There are some files which has the only owner or only the root permissions. Root has access to it. Okay. So what does it mean here? For example, when you do ping, so ping is in this folder here. Ping. So let's do ls-l ping, and then what do you see here? Okay, so the read, write, execute, and read, write, execute, and read, write, execute. Okay, is that the folder? Or I think it's in different folder. Read, write. Which ping? Okay, so what is set UID? Set UID is there are some files which are the owners have the execute permission. Okay, but the user is able to write to that file. Okay, So what is the example here? Let's take a look here, cat or ls-l etc shadow. Okay, look at the permissions here. Permissions are horrible. It seems like nobody has access to the shadow file here. But what you do is, if you change the password, okay, for Zafar 1, you write PASSWD, Zafar 1, or you're already logged in as Zafar 1. You hit password, Red Hat 1. Okay, okay, let me try it again. As a regular user, you have to set the complex password here. Okay, let me set up a complex password. Okay, so what happened here is the password file, the password, I'm sorry, the shadow file is where the password is updated, okay? But it doesn't even have any permissions. What happened here is this file is set as UID, set UID, okay, user ID. What happens here is it inherits the owner root permission when executing a file. So in this case, when you change the password, it wrote to this file here, even though this file doesn't have any read-write permissions here. Only the root could go in there and take a look here. So let's go in as root, and let me cat etc shadow. Okay, so what happened here is the user Zafar1, he changed the password here. So what you could do is ls-l etc shadow. Okay, and look at the timestamp here. You could see that last 2 minutes ago we changed the password here, and the timestamp is set as 2 minutes ago. So who might have changed all this in here? You wouldn't know. The only way you could do is you could go into the bash rc history file and take a look. Okay, but don't worry about it. So, but what I'm trying to prove is the user, the regular user, have access to some of the system files which has a set UID set on them. And then the permissions will allow a regular user to write to it. So let's see here, which ping, and let me do ls-l. Okay, it's not showing what I'm trying to show you here. Give me 1 second here. permissions. Okay, anyway, so let's play around with the command ping. Okay, so I have this user, the ping command, and it's set to, what is it set to? Read, write, execute. Okay, so let's change the permission here. Uh, users and other. O, letter O, not 0. Hey, this is a bad example error. I'm not sure why it's not working. Okay, anyway, let me try something else here. Okay, so ls-l, let's go to cd/data. Okay, and let me do ls-l. Okay, what I'm gonna do is the file 1 is set as read write, there is no execute, read write and read write. So what I'll do is I'll set this file 1 as set UID. So how do you set the UID? chmod. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is user hyphen s file 1. Okay, and ls hyphen l.
So
Oh, I
Ravi's
removed it.
syntax is
Plus.
chmod, and then the whatever group or we want to do, whether others or G for groups, and then plus 30.
Okay. All right. So I gave the wrong command here. So if you're adding something, you do plus, and if you're removing, you do minus. Okay. So look at it here. So what I did here is I did I set this file as a sticky bit. Or, I'm sorry, not sticky bit. UID, SUID. Okay. This is going so wrong. So what I did was I set this as set UID. What will happen here is when the UID inherits the owner root permission when executing a file. So now what will happen here is, so the file, let's see here, I'm logged in as Zafar here, right? So let me see if I am able to execute this file here. Okay, so it says read, I could write, I cannot execute. So let's see here, this was created by, I'm going to look at file 4 here, okay? So can I do cat file 4? I could read it, but I cannot write to it. Okay, so it's only read only. So it's only read only. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch to Amir. Okay, ls-l. So let's see if I could do vi file 1. Okay. Okay, guys, give me one moment here. Let me start Red Hat 6. Red Hat 6. Okay. All right, let me start this here. Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, guys, look at this. I'll find out about a Red Hat 7 here, but on Red Hat 6, what you could see here is this read write execute part is set as S. That means this is what we are looking for, sticky bit. Okay, so I'm sorry, not sticky bit, set UID. What is happening here is set UID. When you see a permission like that means it is allowing you to run this command as a root user. Okay, so you run this command as a root user. So for now, if I remove the sticky bit, it will run the command as a regular user, but it will have some restrictions on it. So let's see here, chmod u minus s, and then the file name. So let's see what happened here. So it is, when this sticky bit is set here, it is set to read write execute. Okay, and this is read write execute. So I think the user is also user add Zafar1 password Zafar1. Okay, all right, actually it worked here. So let me go back what happened here. Okay, originally there was S set here. read, write, and execute S. Okay, this is also set as execute, and this is also set as execute, but anything here. What is happening here is a ping command for the system. For the ping command to be able to run, it should have a root privileges. Not only ping command, there are other commands in the system that has run as root. Okay, so a regular user, Zafar, he is not even a pseudo user. Since this file is set as, since the file is set as sticky bit, originally, when we looked at originally, the file is set as sticky bit, right? It's a bad idea here. So you could see here, read, write, and the execute part is set as S. I'm sorry, I keep saying sticky bit here. The execute part is set as set UID. Okay, so what happens here is set UID inherits the root. Let me remove the owner here. Usually it's root permissions. So if you remove set UID for ping, the user is unable to use the command. Okay, so in this case, set UID is set for the owner root. Okay, so what is the command we used? And the command we ran is ping google.com, and it's telling us the operation is not permitted. So what is the command I should add it here? Okay, if I add the command u plus s, and let's take a permissions here. No, the permission is set to set UID. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do su Zafar1, and then I'm going to run the command ping google.com, and I'm able to use it. Yeah. Any questions? Okay, and then let's see a few more examples here. ls-l etc shadow. Okay, let's see, password file. Okay, let's do this here. So I'm going to switch as su Zafar1, and then I'm going to go to home directory, and then I do ls-l or mkdir mk, let me do touch file1, okay, and ls-l. Okay, in this scenario, who is the owner? Owner is Zafar1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set UID to, so I'm going to do chmod user plus s and file1, okay. So let me go ahead and type something in here, file. This is okay. Let me exit here, and then I'm going to create another username. Okay, user add Amir, password Amir. So I'm going to switch as Amir. Okay, and then let me see. Oh, I can't go into that home. Home. Can I go into the folder Zafar1? Okay, let me actually sudo no, I won't go. Okay, let me exit here and let me switch to Zafar. So I'm gonna give access to the folder here. Folder name Zafar1. It doesn't have access to anything like. So I'm gonna do chmod, and then for example, I'm gonna give full permissions here to everybody. So since I'm the owner of the folder, I could do full permissions here, okay? In password. So I'm going into the folder Zafar1. Okay, now the file is set as sticky bit here. Okay, so Amir is the other user. Let's see if he's able to edit the file. This is edit. Read only option is set. WQ. Okay, so what happened here is since this file is set as set UID, that means owner is giving the permission to the regular user so that he could have the full access as a owner of the file. That's what it means here. UID inherits the owner's root permission. Owner or this is confusing. owner, once the owner is there, it could be any owner. It could be the root or the any other root user. So what's happening here? So even though you look at here, the group doesn't have execute permission, and this one here, others, Amir is belong to others. He has only read permission, but he is able to write to it. Why all this thing is happening? Because this is set as set UID. What I'll do here is the notes are very shabby. I'll take out some time and then work on it and then make it nice and clean. That way you could practice on your own and then also watch the video. Okay, I think we ran out of time. So we got 5 more minutes. If anybody has any questions?
Yeah, I think this is why it's a little confusing. So I have to take a look.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's confused now. Nobody's talking. So what's going to happen here is look through the notes. If not, then look at the video. And if not, then go through or look online. Don't worry about this too much here, but this is some kind of information I have to give it to you so that you would have, I mean, it's a part of the training course that you know what exactly this sticky bit and all these things are.
Okay.
I think this is a good, not this one. Okay, anyway, so what I'll do is once we are done with these permissions, I'll clean up this folder here and then I'll let you have it. And then that way you could work on it. If no other questions, then I could end the class now. All right, see you all tomorrow. Have a good day.
All right, that's fine.
No.